Okay guys, this one is finished. We're good to go now. What I wanted to touch up on this, I made a little tips video on this particular engine, which is in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of cars. Actually millions around the world, but when I took this apart, this is a direct injection engine, so this is actually one of the easier ones to clean. It's only 6 bolts to take this off, to take off the intake manifold, and you got all the valves right there. It's actually one of the easier ones to get to. You take off your boot, your intake boot, unplug a couple of hoses here, and this comes right off, and you have access to it. So while I was in there doing the chains, I went ahead and cleaned it. No big deal. It was like, oh, well, let me take advantage of it being there. Now, the problem with that was, when I initially timed the engine, and that was one error. The second error was I didn't rotate the motor after I timed it. I should have rotated the motor. Now, I didn't know the tip that I gave you guys on the tips video. Watch that video, that way you'll see what I'm talking about, in order for you to see that the marks are good. Because once you rotate this engine and start it, you'll never be able to line up those marks again unless you do what I told you in that video. So you should rotate it to make sure you seat the chains. Because remember, these tensioners are only under spring tension until you start the motor, and then you get the oil pressure in. And that's when you'll get full tension on the chain. Now that, combined with the fact that I put carburetor cleaner and brake clean in the valves to clean them all up, when she started, she stumbled. She didn't start right away. She didn't fire right up. So when she did that, she jumped timing. And I had to go back in there a second time. When I went back in there the second time, I went ahead, retimed it, spun the motor this time, as well as what I told you in the other video. And I checked the phasers to make sure, because that code had come back. But before I did that, another tip I gave you guys in that other video, I counted my links, and I had 11.5 links. So I know that she jumped timing. That was the reason. But while I went in there, I also noticed I had a little bit of play with that exhaust can phaser. And that's the kind of job, unfortunately, on this car, unless you have that $500 tool, if you think that phaser is bad, you might as well change that phaser. I had a very, very small amount of play. It might have been bad, it might have been good, but I was not going in this motor a third time. So I went ahead and changed it. I overpaid for it because I went and bought it at AutoZone, so I paid double of what I would have paid for that same part. And I could have gotten a genuine GM one for a hair more than what this part would have cost me on Rock Auto. Whatever, nonetheless, it's together, she's good. All the codes are gone. She's idling great, running good. She's good to go. We also fixed a little exhaust leak we had. Got a video for that. You guys can check that one out as well. Let me go and show you guys inside now, so you can see we are all good. We got to take her out and throw a little water, clean off some of the coolant. That's why I didn't put the engine cover back on yet, but she is 100% ready to go. All right, here we go. Here's your cluster. Pretty car, actually, very nice car. You know, these motors are just what they are. All right, hopefully that focuses. We go in there, your codes menu, display codes, DTC, nothing. We are 100% fixed. And that was that, guys. So please like, subscribe, help the channel grow, and I'll see you in the next one. Later. Alright guys, we're going to do a little code start on this bad boy. It's been quite a bit of time since I ran this one. I already went out there and moved the focus. I don't know if you guys could hear it in the background, but it's running outside without an issue. No problems at all whatsoever. Started right up once I connected the battery, and I haven't moved that car probably 8-9 months or more. This one's going to be the same. See if we get a little cold start on this one. See if we get this bad boy out of here. We got to move, play Tetris with the cars here, because I got to get the Cadillac in. It's been a little while since I wrenched on that one, so we got to go and get this bad boy started. I have not been in this one in a very long time. Kind of hard to get in there also. But We gotta pull these all out so I can move this car over, the Mustang, put it in here, and then we'll be able to start on that Cadillac. Oh. All right, we got lights in here, and that's great. This is the problem with these two doors. They're nice and long, so it makes it a little difficult to get in and out of here sometimes, but oh. All right, we're in. Oh, I gotta start working on this thing. Uh-oh, we might have a problem here. Okay, I thought I didn't hear that pump. I thought I didn't hear that fuel pump. I haven't ran this car in quite a while. So, little cold start action. We'll start the fan. Oh, baby girl. Back to this one. We're gonna let it idle for a little bit as well. Hasn't ran in a while. Look, anti-theft. So we'll let it run for a little bit because it needs to. Also needs an oil change. Badly. Good old Gorilla Tape. I really don't want to run that Focus that much, but that car hasn't ran up to temperature in a while either, so I want to let it run up to temp. Actually, I don't like that I just sat in the other car and then came into this one because of the the fact that that one kind of has a little bit of mildew growing in there, so I probably got it on my ass right now, and I hope it doesn't, the mold doesn't transfer over here now, because as you see in here, we're good. With this one, so really got to get going on that. I said we'll keep going with the channel. Hopefully everything keeps on coming, and we'll be able to, well, I could definitely get started on the body work on that car. I don't need the channel for that, but we'll get some good content coming for you guys, I promise. I promise we're gonna have some good stuff. 3rd gen Fox, everything. But hopefully, I found a company out there that makes pretty decent superchargers price-wise. Torque Storm superchargers. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in those guys. I saw a kit for this car. I saw a kit for basically every car, the truck even. But they don't make a 6.1 yet for the one for the 6.1 truck yet for the SUVs, according to them. So I don't know why not yet. but I would assume that that's coming. I'm going to leave myself a little room on that side and a little room over here. This door is a lot smaller than the, well, a little smaller than the Camaro door. Just want to be able to get out of here without smacking the door. Be able to get a little more room. I would leave this bad boy running, but I did drive this one. This one, ironically enough, I do not let go of the, I do not disconnect the battery because I move this one more often. I drive this one more often than I do the other one. So, all right, we're looking good here. We're gonna sweep a little bit now, clean up a little bit. Alright guys, we're finally getting started on this. I had to clean up the shop a little bit before we started with this. Alright, so we're going to get started with this bad boy now. I got you guys set up on that tripod. Alright, this has got to come off. Look, we took half the motor apart already. So we got to take this thing off. Sometimes when it doesn't want to go, let it be. Okay, we got it. Alright, this type of fastener here, you're going to press in and that releases it. A little better than the Jiffy Tights, where you got to slide in the piece. Push in here and it releases it. Alright guys, we're back now. What we did now is we got to pick it up because we're going to have to remove this wheel and the inner splash shield in order to have access to the front of the motor over here so we can take off. We got to be able to take off the, oh, she got 6. We got to take it off in order to be able to get access to the dampener. We got to pull the crankshaft pulley off. So. Alright guys, we're back today. This is day 2. I think I'm going to do this a little differently than I have in the past. And condensing all the videos kind of into one video. I think I'm going to do a couple of parts on this because last time when I recorded we got to the point where we're at now. And I'm hoping to bang out a lot of this today, but we're going to see how it goes. We left the car up. It's been up for a week now, up on the lift, hanging here. And now we're going to put the block of wood underneath with the jack, and we're going to disconnect the engine mount over here. Then that'll give me access to the whole left side of the motor, which is what I need in order to get to these chains. We're going to have to take all this out. Once all this is out of the way, I'll have the room here to be able to go on with this job here. So we got to take all this out. Then after that, we're going to come in, take this off. Then we're going to have to take off the valve covers and get into that. A lot of work. That's why they charge so much to do this job in the dealership. But with a little bit of time, you know, take your time with it if you can, and you can get it done, you know. Not everybody could be without a car for a week or two if they're doing it themselves. But, you know, but that's it, you know. We're going to get started with this now. I'm going to put you guys on a tripod. I'm going to try to get you close and put it here, and we'll start doing this. And that's it. Today's day 2. This will probably be video 2. I'll see how it is in the end. You know, I'm trying to see, you know, try to evolve a little bit with the YouTube stuff here. But we're going to get it going. All right, guys. Let me put you on the tripod here, and we'll be getting started. Alrighty, so we got the block of wood and the jack underneath the engine. So we'll be able to come up here now. And again, get these out, pop these bad boys out, and we'll be good to go. So we're gonna put you guys on the tripod, and we're gonna keep recording from here. All right, now, in order to get this, you see what I had to use. I had to use my wrench extender tool here to get a little more torque on it. And I had to use a ratcheting wrench. And I had to use an end cap. The little caps, I'll show you guys. These right here. This is for close quarters when you can't get in there with a wrench. You just pop the little socket in, and then you use a wrench on the top of it in order to get it loose. Very handy for stuff like this. We bent this line back, but I don't want to bend too much more because it's an AC line and she's charged. I don't want to break it. I don't want to crack it. Aluminum gets very brittle. Aluminum is very brittle, rather, and it can break very easily, and we don't want to do that. So that's what we had to do in order to do that. I should be able to turn the bolt out by hand now in order to get this off. So thanks, engineers. But anyways, we'll get back when we keep on going here. Alrighty, now we got that bracket out of the way. Now we can see all the other stuff we got to get out now. Alright, so we got to get this tensioner. Get the belt off, get the tensioner off. As you can see, the belt needs to be replaced. The belt was ordered. I don't know if you guys can see right there. You can see the cracks. When you see cracks in the ribs like that, that's it. That belt is toast. Alright. Now, what you can do is take this belt off and replace it, but then you keep this belt in the trunk as an emergency belt. Just a little old trick we used to always do and tell people in the shop when we would change their belt. You know, you keep it in the trunk just in case it was to fail, and you have a replacement that gets you going, you know, if that ever was to happen, but, you know. All right, so we're going to go work on that. We're going to get the belt out the way, tensioner out the way, and we'll keep on going. We're moving all this stuff off the front here. Alright guys, what we're going to do now, I haven't taken the valve covers off, nor the intake manifold, because I don't want anything to fall in there, or dirt or anything like that. So I've been working on the front cover. I removed these initially. These are the cam sensors. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to leave these in here, because they're pretty short. And they basically have become one with the cover. When I tried to remove the last time, this one, which was when I was giving me the code, and I wanted to remove this so I could actually check it and test it. And in the process, it broke, so I had to buy a new one. This is new. I put this in, and I tried to pull this out just now. It'll rotate side to side, but going to pull it out, very difficult. So you know what? Rather than break it and have to spend any more extra money on bull crap, we're going to leave those in. They're short anyway, so I'm not going to mess with them right now. What we do have to remove, though, are the oil solenoids for the VVT. These are going to have to come out. These are a little tight as well. So we're going to have to play with these a little bit to pull these out gently. But everything is off. That power steering pump in the back does not have to come off. The AC compressor does not have to come off. The alternator, this bolt and this bolt here have to come out. This one and this one have to come out because that's connected to the cover. We can loosen this one to let it hang, and the alternator does not have to come out. Just these two bolts to loosen the alternator do. And this one out so it'll just hang up here on the block itself. Next, after that, we're going to take off the crank pulley, pull that off. Once the crank pulley's off, we're basically there. We got to take off all the bolts for the timing cover. I'm going to leave the water pump on because the kit that I got, I believe, doesn't come with this actual water pump gasket. It comes with the gasket for the cover inside. But as you see, we don't have to remove this anyway. You got plenty of room here. So I'm not going to mess with the pump because we're not changing the pump. It feels okay. It's not weeping. So we're going to take that out. We're going to clean this up, of course. I believe that's oil that's leaking there. Where is it coming from? I'm not sure, but this whole cover covers and holds oil. So we're going to take that off. We're going to take, these got to come off too for the little water outlet here. This has got to come off to get it out. So all this has got to come off, and these come off because these are bolted to the cover. The cover is over here on this side, all this stuff. So this has got to all come out, and then we'll pop that out. All right, so that's what we're going to start on now. I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'll come back with that. All right, I'm not going to record it. I'll come back and show you guys. So like I said, we're going to leave these in, take the oil solenoids out. We're going to pop these bad boys out. Crank pulley, these two bolts here, loosen this so it hangs the alternator out the way, and then we'll be able to attack all the bolts on the front and pull it off. And also, we're going to take all this off up here. The intake, the valve covers. We're going to remove the, I'm not going to take the plugs out. We do have to remove the coils, though. All right, so we'll take the coils off and get these wiring harnesses out of the way as they're connected to the cover right here. So we'll pop these out, move that out, get it out the way, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys? So we'll come back with that in a minute. All right, guys, moving right along, like we said, we took off the intake manifold, all right? In order to do this, all you got to do is these bolts right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take them off, right? Nothing there. There's nothing there. You already disconnected this before. I believe I showed you guys that. This one also here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Disconnect all of the plugs for everything, and then just lift it right up. All right, and this is the gasket. It is reusable. We will be cleaning it up. Nothing too crazy though as far as detergents. Now here, I pulled out the styrofoam that fits in between here because we're going to blow all this out. Look in there. The valves don't look so bad. Being direct injection and all, they don't look too bad, but I will spray some carburetor cleaner in there. I hope you guys can see in there. And we're going to blow it out with some compressed air also. That way nothing falls in there before I go ahead and start moving stuff around. We will clean this carbon buildup that you see here. Pretty carbon. Yay. That's what you get with direct injection. But considering it's not too bad, I don't know if it's ever been cleaned before, but we will be spraying some carburetor cleaner in there to help clean them up, being that I'm in here. Here's your high pressure lines for your secondary high pressure fuel pump for your direct injection. That's why you have this little cam piece right here. All right. So we got all that out. We had to remove the little styrofoam piece on the side here. We disconnected pulled out all the coils, pulled them out. It's just a 10mm bolt and pull them straight out. Disconnected all these connectors in the back. I haven't played with this one. I'm going to take off that valve cover, probably leave that connected. All right, guys? And that's it. We're going to hit this next. I'm going to probably take the crankshaft pulley off next. I'll let you guys know if I need a puller or not. If I do, I guess I'll take a shot of it and show you guys. You know, I'm doing all this by myself. I don't want to put the headpiece on today as far as for the to record, but you guys, you know, I'm showing you guys basically as I go what you need. All right, go in there. We're gonna remove that pulley. I'm sorry, yeah, the pulley, the crankshaft pulley dampener. We're gonna take off the center bolt. Hopefully it'll come out. I decided, like I said, to leave these in, the cam position sensors. And we're going to pop these covers off. I'm trying not to pull them off yet. Like, I didn't want to pull this off yet until I got other stuff out of the way because I don't want nothing falling in there too much. All right, we loosened the bolts here. Took off this one, and we took off this one, and we're hanging it by this bolt so the alternator does not have to come out. Neither does the compressor, and neither does the power steering pump back there. All right, so we're going to do that. We got all this disconnected here, and we're going to go ahead and take that pulley off. Put the bolt back in so we can rotate the motor, and we will go and take these valve covers off at that point because then we got to lock the cams, all right, in order to do our stage 1, stage 2 timing BS with this, and we'll get there. All right, guys. All right, guys, we had to pull out the puller. All right, there's the puller we're using. We got it installed here. We're just going to throw the ratchet on there. I'm not going to use the impact on. I'm going to use the ratchet and pull it on out, all right? And that'll be it, all right? We got it in there. We got it installed, all right? So let's get started with that. All right, guys, here we are. Valve covers are off. Intake is off. And this is the camshaft that was giving me the code. The only thing that I see here that looks awkward is that this front head has very little varnish. It looks very clean. Very clean. Man, that looks excellent. That looks like, that's wonderful. All right, now, this one is completely night and day. That's a little strange. It makes me wonder what the hell happened here. Now, these cars are known for this timing chain issue, and if you let it go too long, and it goes, you will end up having to change and replace a head. Now, they look on the outside like they're the same, you know, as far as wear-wise, on the just going by the outside, how it kind of looks. I don't know if it was replaced or not. But that's very strange how... Alright, so here we are now with this overcomplicated timing system that loves to give problems. Other than that, though, in all honesty, the fact that this car went, what, 150,000 miles before this issue is not bad. So, do this again, in essence, you got another 150, right? Change the oil, take care of it, and that's that. So, it's not burning oil, nothing like that. Everything seems to be good. The plugs actually look pretty freaking new. So that's it, but this is what we're looking at. You know, here's your sprockets, your oil pump chain, your oil pump is down there. Alright, your cams are up here, your timing chain tensioners are there, they're hydraulically actuated. That's why you got to make sure you change the oil often on these things, or you know when they're supposed to be. All right, and this gasket looks terrible right here, but the kit comes with a new one. So look at that. We had to take the water pump off. The water pump was holding itself, holding the timing cover to the block, unfortunately. So I wasn't able to do what I was hoping to try to do. It's an O-ring anyway, so it should be good. So all right, so we're gonna rotate this motor now to get to its timing phases, and then we're going to lock the cams and hold them where they're supposed to be, and yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. All right, I'll get back to you guys when we get to that stage. And I got to put the bolt back in the crankshaft and rotate it, and I'll try to show you guys the dots that got to line up and everything else, and then the way the cams got to look in order to get to that point. All right, later guys. Alright guys, now we rotated the engine to stage 1 timing. There's 2 stages in order to set the first bank and then the second bank. These are the cam locking tools right here. Alright, now this cam, when we have it lined up to stage 1 on the bottom of the crank, I'll show you guys the marks. These 2 cams should be lined up straight. They should be straight. Now we put this on here. Sorry guys, I know the camera works crazy right now, but these are flat. You're looking for these 2 flats to be up. This one and this one. Now you can take a straight edge and do it this way if you don't have these locking tools, alright? These were very inexpensive, they were not expensive, they were pretty cheap, alright? So, you come, put it in here, pop it on, right there. Alright, so we're locked. Alright? Now, you can see it's a little difficult to lock this one with this one, right? Because a little bit of a stretch. Ironically enough, it was that bank that's giving me the code, not this one. But we're in, alright? Alright, we're there. We're in there. And then over here on this side, you got the angle. See the angles on these? The flats are here and here. So these are the flats would be facing this way. Okay? So you take this and lock those. So that's locked and that's locked. Locked, locked. Now you come down here. And take a look at this. Let me show you guys. You have a a dot here on the oil pump, and you have a dot here on the cam sprocket. You line these up. Once these are lined up, that's stage 1. Flats on this bank will be flat, 90 degrees or whatever, 100, you know, completely flat. That bank will be this way. So these will be flat, these will be this way. Lock them in place, and then you can go ahead and remove the tensioners. We'll move over to stage 2 later when we do the next bank, which is this here. This dot will line up with the dot on the sprocket. Then you will go ahead and line up the other one. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on forward, and we'll keep going. All right, we'll go ahead, pull these out. We're going to loosen these. The tensioner, pop this out, pop that guide out, pop these, the chain off, get the new. This has a lot of slop in it now. Look at that. That's not good. And that's not good. That's what I wanted to see earlier when I pulled off the covers. This right here tells me these are completely screwed up. See that? That is way too much play. See that? That is way too much play. Way too much. That'll drive your sensor crazy, and that's this is very actually, I'm very happy to see this right here. I know it sounds crazy, but this is a confirmation right here. See how loose this is? That's not good. She's in time. She's in stage 1 timing, and look at the slop in this chain and this chain. These chains are completely done. That's why we're changing them. All right. So we'll get back, pop them out. Loosen these up, pop these guides out. Again, I wish I could record it. I mean, I could put it on my head, but I'm letting you guys know. Pop these out. This will come out. Loosen that. Loosen these. Pop it out. That bottom pad here for the oil pump, down here, you do not change that guide. They'll give you the guide, but they don't want you to touch it for whatever reason. There's some kind of witchcraft there or something. I don't know. They don't want you to touch it, even if you torque them down. No, no, no. They say don't do it. Even though they give you the bracket, they say just to change the plastic. Do not touch the oil pump, torque specs, whatever, for whatever reason. I don't know. Again, there's some witchcraft in there. Don't touch it, all right? So we'll get to that part down there. We'll take that out. We'll swap out that plastic guide, put the new one in, and then we'll proceed forward with the rest of this crap, all right? And this is pretty much, we're in the home stretch, believe it or not. And it really wasn't that bad, honestly. This intake comes out so easy, and the covers come out easy. The valve cover, it's not too bad. I mean, you know, a lot of people shy away from it because it is a little complex. You know, we're going to check the timing marks, double, triple, quadruple check them, make sure we're good with that, and then we'll go ahead. But as long as you take your time with it, don't rush through, do the research. This is crazy. Look at this. I mean, in my opinion, if GM was to do like a double roller type of timing chain set for this, or somebody was to make that, hey, pay me if you guys come up with this idea. I came up with it first. Make a double roller timing chain, a little thicker maybe, kind of like Mercedes does on their V8s. They got their chains are huge. Put a double roller maybe on this. It would prevent this from happening, and it would make these, you know, longevity of these go forever. You know, before you have to, I mean, timing chain should really never have to be changed, man. Usually the sprocket would wear out, like on the V8s back in the day. They had that, what is it, like a nylon type of sprocket, and you would check for the wear on that, and that's what you would change. The chains would rarely ever go, man. You know, this is, you have a chain, you're supposed to be okay. Belts get changed, not chains really, but again, look how intricate this setup is, you know. You got 3 chains to run this thing. It's kind of crazy, you know, but it is what it is. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. Like I said, I want to throw some carburetor cleaner in these intake, and the intake as well, to clean up these valves a little bit, being that I'm here. Might as well. It's not going to be a walnut cleaning, you know, like you would do on Audis and other ones, and even a lot of other cars now these days too. We used to do that on the jet engines, on compressor sections. You throw walnuts in to clean the compressor blades, but never thought we'd be doing that on cars. But with direct injection, that's what you got now, because you don't get the fuel over the intake valve, so you get this gum up situation here. These are actually, they don't look that bad. I don't know if they ever did anything before, but they're pretty good. But I'm going to spray a little carb cleaner in there while we're here. I'm going to also blow this out with some compressed air. You know, there's some junk that fell in there when you pull the intake off. You can't help it. Going to blow a little air in there, blow that stuff out, and throw a little carburetor cleaner in there, try to clean them up a little bit, you know. And that's that. We'll go ahead, put these in, slap this baby back together, man. You know, going along pretty good. Wasn't too bad, you know. It is a little bit of a, you know, intricate procedure here, whatever, but it's not too bad if you take your time with it, you know. All right, guys, we'll get back. All right, now we went with they have different timing sets for this thing. I went ahead with the Delco kit. This is the Delco kit here. All right, this is from Rock Auto. We have, this is all GM genuine. You know, unfortunately, we see some of the parts are Taiwan, China, and Vietnam, but the rest says Detroit. I hope it's coming from whatever, but these are your two chains for your cams. This is the oil pump chain here, and these are going to be your tensioners. They have pins on them, of course. We're going to go ahead and change these up. All right, so here we go. Tensioner, you pull your pin. All of these, they're all different, so you don't have to worry about messing them up. Okay, they're all a little different here. All right, this is what the tensioners all look like. They're loaded with the pin. You're gonna pull the pin once it's in, and you get everything set up. And we're good to go. See? All right, here and here. Now this is your water pump gasket, crank seal, cam seal. I'm sorry, seal. So we're gonna open this all up. Pretty good kit. All right. Some of the other kits are a little more complex, but that's what we're using. All right. All right. So I'm back just to show you guys again quickly. This is your cam seal for your camshaft on your cover. These are your gaskets. They're metal these are for your tensioners. You can't mess these up because they're all different. And these are actually for your oil solenoids. These are all new seals for your oil solenoids that go on your cam cover. So the kit comes with this seal, new crankshaft. You have your oil sensor seals here. The oil solenoid seals, brand new. As well as your oil pump. This is your gasket for the inside for your water pump. That goes on the back here, right there. So we'll pull that out. We have a new gasket for that, all right? And that's it. Pretty good set. Pretty good little kit. Other kits are a little more intricate where they replace the sprockets and everything else, but I went ahead with the Delco set because if the Delco set is not offered with all the actually, I just realized it didn't even come with the guides. The guides are all pretty good on this, but that's just basically your chains and your gaskets. Wow, I just realized that. But, if GM says we're good, as far as I'm concerned, honestly. So, we're going to go ahead and change the tensioners. We're going to change the chains. We're not changing the sprockets. Some kits come with sprockets and the guides and everything else, but this particular kit does not. This Delco kit was the only one offered that they have. I believe the Cloy's kit comes with everything, including these camshaft sprockets too. But, they look pretty good to me. If GM doesn't offer it, I would assume that we're good, but we're going to go and change it with what we got. All right, we're changing the chains, we're changing the tensioners, all brand new, and the gaskets, and we're going to keep it pushing. All right, should be all right. I'm not concerned. All right, everything looks pretty good here as far as the sprockets themselves. I'm a little surprised that the guides don't come with it, but like I said before, if the guides do come, you change all the guides as well, and that bottom one with the oil pump, you do not touch it. All right. All right, guys, we're back now. Now, this engine is done in 2 stages. You're going to see some things out there that say they do it in stage 2 and do both stages, whatever. We're going to go ahead and do it the way that GM recommends here. Stage 1, we're lined up, all right? You got your little L right here, lined up with this link. Right here, L, lined up with that link on the exhaust, the intake. Down here, you're going to have the mark on the idler. All right. I think you guys could see that. I'm hoping you can. Can you? Let me see. All right there. All right, with that mark. Then we're going to go back here with this mark. And then down here on the crank, we're with that mark. And then you look through the window here, and I really hope you can see it. The yellow link through the little window is the next mark. So that's stage 1, all right? We're locked here, and we're locked here. These cams on this side are locked straight up. These are at a little angle. Now we're going to rotate the crankshaft. You have another mark down here to the other side here. There's a mark on this side. We're going to rotate it to line up the mark with that mark. That'll be stage 2. Then we're going to swap the cam locks. All right, this lock, we could take this. We're going to take this off, of course, to rotate it. We're going to leave that one on. This is going to come off. We're going to rotate it. These will go over, and then we're going to take this one off, and we're going to use a 19mm wrench on here, on the camshaft right here and right here, to bring it over into stage 2. This will make these the cam locks over here, or the cams themselves, will be flat up on this side. We'll do that, and then we're going to line them up here on this side with the R. You have an R. I don't know if you guys could see it, but there's an R on this side and an R on that side. Basically, the L on this side is for left bank. The one on this side is for right bank. Now, what's weird about that is that if you were looking at it left and right, the way we're facing it right now, because the engine is transverse, we're looking at it from the front, and it's the opposite. The left bank is actually the right bank, and the right bank is the left bank. Don't let that confuse you. I know it's confusing. So if you were looking at it from the opposite direction on that side, looking this way, then it would be left and right. So this would be left here. That would be right there. So L here, lined up, lined up. When we go to stage 2, this is going to come over to up here. This is going to move over here. And we're going to go here, and we're going to line up the R on this side. It'll be RR with the colored links. Down here, we're going to rotate the little window. This window will rotate on its own when you turn the crankshaft. And we'll line up the link under here. All right? Like I said, overly complicated for no damn reason. But it is what it is. Just follow these procedures. Should be good. All right? We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. Now, this is the 3rd day. We finished late last night, and left it in time. But when I took a look down at the bottom, at the sprocket down here for this secondary chain on the, what is that? They consider that the right side. This side over here against the firewall. It was off by a half a tooth. Half a tooth. I was like, I checked all the line. I put it back in first stage timing. We went ahead and put it back in first stage timing. After that, all the marks, all of them line up. This one, this one, this one here, this one here, this one here, this one over here, which is right there. And then the one down here when it was in the primary, right? First stage. Now we're in stage 2. So we're lined up here. I know you guys aren't going to really be able to see that. But we're lined up here with the mark. You have an 8 o'clock basically mark that lines up with this yellow link. Then you have the one up here and the one back here. Now these are lined up with the R's. There's a little R here lined up there. There's a little R there lined up there. But down here, this was not lining up. If you look at it closely now, I hope you guys could see it. You'll be able to see that the hole is lined up perfectly with the yellow link now. Before, it was a little over towards the front. And it was only the edge of it was lined up. So it was off by like a half a tooth or a tooth. And what I had to do is disassemble this entire side again. Take out the guides, take out the tensioner, reload the tensioner by pushing it back in and putting a pin in. And then there's a little bit of flex with these cams, with these phasers on this side. So there's a little bit of a spring action in there. You have to come clockwise, take the spring action out of it, put it around this guide, and hold the tension as you wrap it around here, and then put this other guide and hold it. Then once you tighten this and this, it'll maintain the tension on these teeth on this end, and it will not come out. and it'll be lined up perfectly like this. That is perfectly lined up. So had I been lazy and said, F it, it's good to go, we would have had an issue. Not that it would have been interference, but it might have given a code again. And that, I'm kind of leaning towards that somebody did this before in this car, and they did the wrong procedure. They might have left it and not done what I just did, maybe. Because this is an aftermarket chain. This is a Cloyce chain. I know it by the marks. The timing marks on it are from Cloyce. So that's a Cloyce kit. And that Cloyce kit includes the sprockets and things like that. So these have been changed. I really believe so. But anyways, long story short, that's done. We're in time now. 100% in time. We could go ahead now, clean up the block, which is what's next. We're going to clean up the block, clean up all these mating surfaces. I already started a little bit with the gasket scraper. Then I'm going to go here with a little razor blade, clean all this off, hit it with a little bit of brake clean with a rag, and that's it. We're ready to go back together. We got to change all of the seals on the cover itself, though, now. All these seals on the timing cover. This crankshaft seal, these solenoid seals got to come out next, and we have them up here. I think I showed you guys before, but we're going to do that next. Then we'll clean up this, throw it back together, and we'll be good to go. So, I'll be back, guys. Alright, guys, we're back. We're moving right along with all this. Like I said before, we got this all in time. We're ready to go. Chancleta Ed came through. He's on a beer run right now. So, you know, we're doing our little thing here. We're going to put this seal in now. Grab this right here. Put it in there. We're going to use our seal installer right here. We already cleaned up the cover on the back side. You can't really see it. I cleaned it up here too for the water pump. We're going to reuse the water pump gasket up here because it's an actual O-ring. I'm just going to put a little gasket dressing on it. We should be good with that. The gasket on the back that goes from the case to the block is an actual new gasket. The old one is there. The new one is right here. So we're going to use this. All right. I'm going to use the seal installer. Bang this baby in here. We're going to bang it in there like that. Then we got the smaller one here to bang these in. The solenoid gaskets, all right? So we're going to get back with that. We're moving a little slower right now because we're just wrenching, having fun. You know what I mean? We're going to get it done. The hard part's done already. Once I get these in, we got to put the RTV on the back. All we got to do is clean the block now. This is all clean here. We'll clean the block of the RTV. I started a little bit here, but I wanted a little bit cleaner than this. But Chancleta Ed is going to handle that. And once that's all cleaned up, I'll put the RTV on the cover, and we'll put the cover back on. And then from there, it's easy. You know, we put the valve covers back on, intake manifold on, and we're done. The hard part is done. We had to take this whole secondary system out again in order to line up that link down there. If you do this job, you got to make sure these links line up. They will line up. If it's off by a hair like that one was, do not give in and say, no, that's got to be it, because that wasn't it. It was not it. We had to make sure we got in there. We had to make sure that it was lined up. And when I went in there and I pulled on this chain, like I said, you have a little bit of spring tension in these phasers. It came over, and I was able to catch it, and it lined up perfectly. Before that, it was still in the window, but it was not dead center in the window. So you will be tempted to say, oh, that's got to be it. No. It's got to be perfectly centered in that window. All these lines, all these marks line up perfectly dead center, all right? Keep that in mind, guys, all right? You're going to do all this work. You don't want to go in there and have it go back together. Now, that won't make the car not run. I'm pretty sure it will run, but it will probably throw that code. You know, there's not going to be interference with it. It's literally was like a half a tooth off. You know, I guess it's a tooth. It can't be a half, but it looked like a half. That's how close it was. So, all right, guys. So, see, notice there's very little slop in here compared to the other one, and that's with the tensioner without oil pressure. With oil pressure, this will be a lot tighter. So, we'll keep on moving right along. I'll give you guys an update. All right, we got Chancleta Ed doing the cleaning over here. But this is not what I'm doing. Yeah, I know I'm going to get some grief for the wire wheel, but I've been doing this forever with a wire wheel. Gentle, good to go. No big deal. You can use a brass one if you'd like, but just touch it lightly to get that material off of it, and we're good to go. After that, the silicone will fill all the voids, especially in this type of application. He wanted to use his razor blade before, but, you know, I told him we have to do it this way. His Gillette shaver. All right, we'll be back when we're putting this cover on. All right, guys, we're back. This is day number 3 on this now, all right? But it's really actually week number 2, all right? Because we started with this and got it going. But anyways, we're up to this now. Cover's back on. Of course, all of this is all cured up nice. I'm going to take this water pump pulley off because there's a bolt here that I'm not happy with that I feel like is almost stripped or not stripped. So I'm going to take that bolt out and I'm going to tap it and I'm going to repair it. That's just me. I don't like doing things, you know. I always, if I see something like that, I fix it. I don't leave it, you know. In a lot of places, you would go to a shop, they would do it, and, you know, odds are it probably will not leak. But I don't like doing stuff like that. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to repair it. All right, so we're going to take it off. I believe it's this top bolt here, so it's also easy to get to, the one at the top there. I'm using one hand, so we'll do that. We'll get that back on. That shouldn't take me too long. And then we'll just go ahead. This is all clean, as you can see. We're going to go clean this off all around. I'm going to blow this with some air. I'm going to throw some carb cleaner in here. I'm sorry, some brake clean to clean some of the stuff off from when we cleaned it. All right. And we're just going to clean that off a little bit and move forward with it. We should be done. We should have this ready today. I have daddy duties, and tomorrow I do as well. Hopefully we could bang this out. In the next 2 days, we should be able to get it done between today and tomorrow. I only got a short time to work on it today because I got to go catch my son's baseball game. All right, so at 6 o'clock. So I have a short time to work on this. So let me get in there, get this done. I'll come in back and I'll show you guys how we're going to go about this, all right? Be right back. All right, guys, if you've never done this before or seen it done before, what you got to do here is get you one of these so you can measure, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen these, all right? So you can measure and see what it is. I'm doing this with one hand because I want to show you guys. This is the bolt from the engine. It's an M6 bolt, all right? You measure it, you put it in here. Sorry for the camera, but you put it in there, and you see there's no movement, all right? You're good to go. Then you're going to take it, and you're going to take a gauge, a thread gauge, and you're going to put it on here, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to match it. So this is an M6 by 1. All right, see, metric. This is metric, and the pitch is 1. All right, we're going to replace it with an SAE bolt because I don't want to just retap these threads here because it's probably not going to hold. So we're going to change it. This 1 bolt is going to be changed to the equivalent of that in the SAE, which would be 1/4 by 20. Now that's a little bit of a bigger bolt, not as fine thread. See, now this is a 1/4. Goes in the 1/4, and there you go. Then what you're going to do, just to make sure you got the right length, this is a 1/2-inch bolt. We're going to put it in here, and then you're going to pick it up, and you're going to see the length. The bolt on the right is a hair longer, so it's perfect because the threads don't go all the way through the bolt, see? So on the camera, you probably can't notice it, but... So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a 1/4 by 20 tap, which is this one right here. We're going to run it in there, put new threads, and we're going to change it and put a new bolt in. And that's that. So, because I have to do it. I can't do that, all right? So we're going to do that. We're going to run it in there, and maybe I'll put you guys on the head mount, or I'll put it on the tripod. But let me get this ready. Put this in there, throw a little oil on those threads, cutting oil, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, so here we are. I got you guys mounted on the head mount so you could see and watch. All right, so a little cutting oil. All right, for your threads. Also, always try to use oil on your drill bits if you want them to last. Alright, I'm going to get this started by hand, or try to by hand. Alright. I'm putting a little bit of pressure in there, just till it bites. Alright, we're going to get it in there to bite. Now you can use a tap socket if you don't have a ratcheting tap handle to do this as well. Alright, so we're just going to go in here, do it by hand. I pretty much got it already going. And then we're going to go ahead and throw the ratcheting tap handle on here. Now this is a gear wrench kit. They are not a sponsor. We're not going to go crazy here. We're just going to go in. You're going to go until it stops. I hope you guys can see it. Let me get on this stool. Get a little up here. Alright, so this is how we're going to do it. Now remember, this is into the timing cover, alright? So we're just going to go in till it stops. We're not going to force it, it's just going to go. It's very easy right now. Remember, this is aluminum, so. We're going to pull it out now. Oops. We can pull this out by hand. Come on, baby. Now, that should be good. What I'm going to do is come back here, check it with the bolt to see. Pretty much that's the same length. It goes in about a 1/2 inch. Now, I felt like it wanted to keep on going, but let's see. Because we don't want to go through and push it through the case itself. So we're just going to put this in here now. And should be able to tighten this down now. Was that 9/16? 7/16? Yeah. What am I doing? Go right here, use this. Oops, wrong way. Oh. Now, bottomed out nice. We're going to loosen it because we want to torque it. It's supposed to be 89 inch-pounds. So, 89 inch-pounds it will be. $85, 6, 7, 8, 9. 89 inch-pounds. We need a little short extension. What we got here. And that's it. 89 inch-pounds torqued. All right. So we repaired that. And that's that. That's how you go about it. Now, you don't have to have such a massive tap and die set. But through the years, with all the work I've done, I've always ran into issues. And I'm like, you know what? I needed a really good kit. You could get a cheaper kit. But when it comes to a tap and die set, you kind of want to spend a little bit and get a pretty decent set. That's a gear rank set. I have other sets as well. I have a cheap Harbor Freight one for really small stuff sometimes. You know, it's rare that I need that one. You know, but that's it. That's all it takes, especially when working with aluminum. The aluminum is real easy to work in there. You know, you saw I put a little bit of cutting fluid in there. Grab just, you definitely need a thread gauge, though, to be able to do it. If you don't have a thread gauge, you could grab the bolt and just touch another bolt with it. If you're trying to repair one that you're going a little deeper with. I don't have another one to show you guys, but when you want to check sometimes the thread picks to see if a bolt matches, it's just a little trick. I'm sure most of you guys know what I'm talking about. You're just going to grab 2 bolts like these 2 and you'll check like this. When you see the threads mesh like this, you know that they're the same pitch. And then if you don't have, you could eyeball it, or if you have one of these, you could also just check it to make sure and drop it in there. All right, guys, so that's that. We're done. That's repaired. Now I can sleep better at night because that's just, again, that's just the way I am. I could have let it stay like that. We went around all the bolts, made sure they're all 89 inch-pounds, so that's repaired now. I'm okay with that, all right? And that's it, guys. All right, we got full 89. Now I just throw that pulley back on. I'm sorry, throw the pulley back on, clean this up, put the valve covers back on, put the intake manifold, and we're ready to change the oil and give it a test fire. See, everything's all good. We got a new belt that came also. I have it over, what the hell is it? It's over there somewhere. But we have a brand new belt for it as well. And that's that. We could say this one's good, and then we could try to see if, I know I got a little issue over here in the suspension, a ball joint or something. We'll check it out, all right? I'll get back with you guys when we start doing that. All right, so we cleaned everything up. We wiped it all down, a little brake cleaner. I sprayed some carb cleaner and onto all the intake valves to help clean up some of the gunk that's built up there. Thanks to the direct injection. All right, now we got the valve cover gasket on, a new one. Now, whenever you do a valve cover gasket, a lot of people back in the day, they used to always dab silicone all the way around everything. You don't need to do that, especially with these new ones that are reusable like this. It just was common practice back in the day, but what it is, everybody used to confuse this stuff for that. This is what you actually should put, which is a gasket dressing, if you're going to do around the entire gasket. Not an actual, like, 100% silicone. Now, whenever you do put the silicone on these, on these types of gaskets, what you want to use, or not use, but do, is put a little dab in the corners. Right here is where the engine meets the cover, the timing cover, and the engine, the head itself meet right here. So we put a little dab on here, and we put a little dab in the corner, dab in the corner, dab in the corner and corner. Just, that's all. You don't need to cake everything on, you know what I mean? So, and that's it. We're going to put that on. We'll do the same to the other side. I'll catch up to you with you guys when I get up to that. All right, guys, we're back. We got both valve covers on. We torqued them all down, 89 inch-pounds. Rerouted our plugs around our electrical connections, connected them all up. Coils are back in. Those are 89 inch-pounds as well. If you want to torque them down, just tighten them up. Don't manimal them. We cleaned everything up here. We got the styrofoam insert back in. All right, we got everything here set up how we need to. All right, looking good. And now we're just going to go and throw the belt on. So let me throw some gloves on. We'll throw the serpentine belt on quick, and we'll be good to go. Dipstick has to come out in order for you to pop up the harness over the dipstick. So that's why that was there. All right, so let's grab this. We cleaned up the gasket. We reused this gasket right here. So clean this all up. We're going to put this to the side though for now until we come back to it to put the intake manifold on. Alright guys, so we're back here. Now you got little dowels in here, which is great, because that places it for you. See, it stays right there. We cleaned up this gasket. Alright, reusable. And what do we got here? That's a little bit of corrosion there, it looks like. That's a little aluminum corrosion on there. So I'd rather get that off a little bit. I'm going real soft with this. You're not going to manimal this. Just enough to scrape it off of that. You're not going to mess up the plastic. I'm sorry, the rubber. This little rubber that's bonded to this plastic, all right? So, I mean, that's just the lightest little touch. Lightest little touch is all we're doing now. All right. The timing kit does not come with a new one of these. And like I said, these are reusable. It should be fine. Okay. Just going to clean this up here. Okay. Okay. All right. Put that back down there. Now, I would recommend, and other people always recommend as well, you cover this intake manifold whenever you're doing work so you don't drop a bolt in there. Well, no, we did not drop a bolt in there, so I'm just looking to make sure. See how gunked up those valves look, but I did shoot that carb cleaner in there and some brake clean in there. And I did clean them up a little bit from the top as far as with my fingers going into the ports. So should be good. Once it fires, it'll draw some of that in there and it'll clean it up even better. We cleaned this up. There is another gasket here that you change. You take off these Torx if you had to, but we don't have any issue with that right now. So all these modern cars seem to have these issues with this oil. That's why a lot of these cars all have catch cans. That's like the big thing these days, catch cans and everything. So here we go. Make sure we got nothing being pinched and drop it on. All right, that's it. We're dropped on. We're dropped on here. Just got to drop the bolts in and torque them down 18 foot-pounds in a circular pattern. Where'd I put the bolts? There they go. All right, guys, we're going to stop here because I got to go to my son's baseball game. All right, so we popped in a new housing for the belt. Here's the old one. I still got to disconnect it from here because it got the crack. We put everything in here. We got to connect this overflow hose, so put it over here with the clip. Put it all the way up to the overflow, the fill tank over there, pop it in, put in the air box and the engine mount, and we're done. We can start it. Well, I'll drain the oil, of course, oil change, and we'll start it. So we're right there. We're only a couple of, we'll say an hour's worth of work maybe away, and that's it. So we connected everything up, all right? These evap lines. Back here we had a coolant hose we had to hook up, and this PCV here to the vent, all right? We got this one here. That's the last one that's sitting over there that goes around to the air box. Comes in from here into the air box. And that's it. That's what these two last plugs are for. They go connected here and here with these push pins. And that's it, guys. So we're almost there. Ready to start it, run it, and be done with this bad boy. Set it on down the road. All right. All right, guys. We're back today. Now, this is day number 4 of working on the Caddy. Like I said, we're just about done here. Let me turn this light on here. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up now. All we got to do now is we're going to throw the engine mount on. We're going to put the upper radiator hose in, the air box. All right, guys, we're back. We had to swap the GoPro battery out. All right, going back to this now. Engine mount, upper hose, oil change, air box, and we're good to go to let it run. And see where we at. See how good we are. All right, we're done, man. We are finally done. Honestly, if I was to bang this out, if I was to do this again and kind of thrash on it, this could be a 2-day job easily. I might be able to do this in 1 day if I was to like really push through and get started early. It's not too bad, especially after once, you know, as you guys know, once you do one job one time and then you go ahead and do it again, it's a lot easier the second time. So, you know, it's a little bit of an intricate job. You got to be careful, you know, pay attention to what you're doing. Like I had to take apart that second bank one time to make sure that the marks were lined up right because I saw it was off. It was off by a little bit, and I was like I said, somebody could easily make an error and be like, you know what, I still see the link through the hole, which you do and did, and say that's good. But it's got to be centered perfectly in that hole. So I took it apart, got it there, and we're good. I'm glad I did that, and I didn't go ahead with the other option, which would have ended up in disaster. All right, so here we are. We're good to go. Everything's cleaned up nice. We're gonna get this going, and I had to go to my son's game again today. That's why we're getting a little bit of a late start today. And I got to go see the Mets. Even though I'm a Yankee fan, you know, still New York, I got to go see these Mets. My son's a big Met fan. Of course, he has to go against me. But anyways, that game is at 7:30, so we'll finish this up. We should be good. If not, it's DVR anyway. I could start a little later to watch it, and we'll get it all done. So let me get going with that. You know what? I'll set you guys up on a tripod, I guess, and we'll, you know, you guys can see that way since I got a fresh battery in here anyway. So give me a sec, set that up, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. We got the compressor running now, but I got you guys set up on a tripod, so here we go. Alright guys, we're back. Sorry about that. I don't know exactly when the GoPro battery died again, but that battery I guess is no good. But we went ahead and we cleaned off this bolt. We cleaned it on the wire wheel. This is for the air box, but we're up to this now. We got the engine mount back in. Hose is connected. We put the little overflow hose to the bottle over there. Now we're going to put the air box back in and we'll be good to go. I'm going to put you guys back on the tripod here, and we'll finish that up. After that, we're going to take it up and do an oil change, and we should be ready for the first fire on this thing. All right, guys, let me put you on the stand here. All right, guys, so we're under the car now. Even with this lift, because it's a low-rise lift and my roof is not, or my ceiling is not high enough in here, I don't get too much lift. I actually get more lift on my Jeep than I do with this. Kind of weird, actually, but all right. Well, I'm seeing some things here that makes me realize how come I don't like newer cars very much. Number one thing I noticed is I do not like how this wire is actually, this is a battery cable, positive cable. Goes, I believe it goes back and wraps around behind the starter here. But if you look at it, it's right next to the catalytic converter. So I'm going to try to do something there to make that better. And try to put a metal zip tie there, because if I put a regular zip tie, it'll probably melt, being that the catalytic converter is literally like right there. So, but that's where your oil filter is, right up here. So we'll go in there. We're going to take that bad boy off. You got your drain plug here. This is coolant that fell from up top. That's why it looks like that. Don't be alarmed. But as well, I've never seen this ever in my life. This is an engine mount or a transmission mount. It would be a lateral mount. It's actually made of plastic. This is actually plastic. Now again, I know they make some composite plastic, some composites and plastics that are stronger than steel. But I would kind of beg to, or bet money on it, that this is not one of those plastics. I really cannot believe. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's strong, but I don't think it's strong as metal. But here we go. And then you have a front cover made of plastic. At least we still have a metal oil pan. Find that amazing in this day and age, that a metal oil pan is hard to find. But we're going to go in there. There's your filter. Use your strap wrench. Let me hang this here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get this off over here. We're going to take off the drain plug over here, and we're going to drain the fluid from here. So you're going to go, you drain this right here. That's your drain plug. You go up there, you use your strap wrench or whatever, and change that. Pull that off. It's going to leak everywhere. So we're going to move this pan over here, the one that's behind me that you guys can't see right now, right here. And always when you take off an oil filter, always make sure you check for the gasket. All right, make sure you guys check for the double gasket. But let me see. Let me get up and maybe put you guys on a tripod so you can watch, I guess. I take this stuff for granted sometimes, the oil changes. But yeah, that's all there is to it. Lift it. You got your drain plug here. You got your oil filter up there. You're going to need a new oil filter. And you're going to need... Excuse me, guys, because I'm on the floor. I had to get on a creeper in order to get under this truck while it's up on the lift. You're going to need sockets, and you're going to need oil filter, and I still like to use a strap wrench. That's all you're going to need to do this. So... Alright guys, if you look straight up there now, where the light is, all the way up there, you should be able to see the pad where the oil filter goes, the screw. I always double check, even though I took off the filter and the gasket is on the oil filter, I always still make sure that that's clean. That's got no gasket on it. I've seen it done so many times, this is why I keep emphasizing about the gasket on the filter, alright? So... now you're just going to take your new filter. You always take a little bit of oil, a little dab of oil. Doesn't have to be clean. You're just lubricating this O-ring. That way when the oil change is done next time, it'll come off as one unit again. All right? Alright guys, now moving right along. We're putting the little wheel well shield back in. This is a mechanic's best friend, zip ties. There was a few broken tabs on this, and this whole piece was hanging down. So I managed to take one of, actually we're going to replace two of these as well, because these two were missing. So being that we saved them from here, being that these were broken, we went ahead and used them over here. We went ahead and put a bolt there. We was able to catch one there because that wasn't broken. So we moved one over and fixed that. We put a hole here with an awl, with a zip tie, and we put another zip tie here. Now this is all nice and sturdy. When this is bolted to this, there won't be no more of this flex here. And this will be stronger as well. These things always break. So there's one over there all the way in, and there's another one all the way over that broke as well. But being that we got the bolt there and these two here, this is good. All the others are solid. We're good to go. So, all right. So let's go ahead and keep catching these bad boys in here. I'll get back to you guys when I get it back up, but put these back in very easy. Screws go back in here, push pins, and we're all done with this. All right, guys, here we go. Last little bit here. All we got to do now is put the oil in. And we are good to go. Alright guys, she's done. Got her running good. We're letting her warm up to temperature, make sure the fluids are all good.